I'm about to enter my sophomore year of college, and with that comes recruiting season. So, in about a few months, I'm really going to have to start recruiting for summer 2028 internships because I'm trying to major in finance, and it's stressful, dude. Part of it is because obviously it's competitive. Even though I go to a target school for finance, it's still very tough because I'm competing against a lot of other really smart kids and also a lot of kids who have connections that I don't have access to. But it is what it is. But regardless, like the last few weeks especially, it's been kind of pretty tough on me, not just because it's been something that's weighing on my mind, but also because for me, as someone who doesn't really have any prior connections to finance and only really just decided to try to pursue it in college, I also don't really know what I'm doing a lot of the times. Especially when it comes to preparing for things like interviews, preparing for things such as networking, and just making sure I'm really have all of my knowledge that I need, making sure I'm well studied, well versed, making sure that I know what market news to follow. It's just tough because the last couple of months I've tried my best to figure out a lot of this stuff by myself. There's always that lingering feeling of not knowing if you are choosing the right things or studying the right things. And I wanted to also connect this to a topic that will feel a little bit of out of left field at first, but I promise there's a connection, and that's childbirth and raising kids. uh, and connecting just in the sense of having to navigate stuff that you've never experienced, or just navigating unfamiliar situations, because a few days ago, the last few days have been very, very eventful. First, about 3 days ago, one of my friends actually got kicked out of her house by her mom, and she didn't really have anywhere else to go. So she texted me at probably 5 or 6 a.m. in the morning asking, "Yo, can I crash over at your place?" Because she had literally just been booted out with just a suitcase and the clothes on her back. And obviously, I'm not gonna say no to that, right? Like, one of my friends is in trouble, I want to help them. But it also really got me thinking, because I personally just think it's really crazy for you as a parent to kick out your own child from your house, especially in a big city with basically no resources aside from some clothes and other stuff like that. Because my friend, okay, first of all, she comes from an extremely well-off family, and I don't mean well-off in like a, oh, like her parents are both doctors or whatever. I mean well-off in the sense that like her grandfather is the founder of a company in South Korea that if I said the name of, you would recognize, and their family owns a conglomerate, like a literal conglomerate. I think the term for it is chaebol in South Korea, where they basically own a business empire, and her grandfather is worth billions of US dollars, that type of well off. And because of that, she hasn't really developed her own financial independence, I guess is the best way to put it. And when she got kicked out, her mom also, okay, it was because it was, I'm not gonna dive super deep into it. It was just kind of like a family, not exactly a family argument, but just an argument between her and her mom. And if you're Asian, you probably know how crazy Asian moms can get sometimes. I know I definitely have experienced that to an extent, but whatever. The fact of the matter, like the point is, her mom deactivated her credit card that she was using, so she also had no financial resources. So like, all in all, just a very, very fucked situation for her. And to me, that shit was crazy. That as a parent, you're willing to do that to your kid, and in a big city, like, nevertheless, or is nevertheless the right word to use there? I don't know. Cherry on top. I don't know. Whatever. Because if I wasn't in New York City, she would be fucking cooked. Like, in a potentially dangerous situation type of cooked. Because where are you supposed to stay when you have no access to money and only the resources on your back? Like, where are you supposed to sleep? Where are you supposed to get shelter? All that stuff. And it's definitely given me a newfound appreciation for my parents, because I've had disagreements with my parents. I've had disagreements on their approach to things like handling children, raising me sometimes at points in my life. But they've always had like unconditional support and love for me. They've never done anything as crazy as kicking me out for multiple days on end. And I think I've also just kind of earned an appreciation for just parents in general, if that makes sense. Because I also had another conversation with another friend whose mom also freaked out over her. Not to the point of kicking her out, but like they, just had a crash out. And she was ranting to me over the phone, and we were kind of talking about this type of stuff. Things, well, it was originally her ranting, but it eventually transitioned all the way into things like navigating having children, how to really communicate with your parents, the role that gender plays in family relationships. And I think I've just gone from just both of these, I guess, experiences that have happened in the last 2-3 days. I've gained a newfound appreciation for people, for parents, and how even though they don't always make the best decisions, it's also important to remember that a lot of them, especially if you're the eldest sibling like I am, are navigating having children for the first time. And a lot of the times they really also don't know what they're doing, and they're just guessing and trying to figure out what the next best step is without really knowing for sure if it's the best next step. And I guess it's a little bit of a silly connection to things like job hunting or trying to pursue a career path. But I think one of the most important things that you can do, if you can't directly relate or empathize with the situation, is to try to at least have some sort of framework with it. In this case, I mean, I'm 19, I don't have kids, I'm like, right? But I can still kind of relate to that feeling of not knowing if the decisions that you're making the here and now are correct, but still hoping that it's the right path. Because my mom definitely has, I mean, I have a really good relationship with my mom. We talk a lot, not like just about trivial stuff, but also a lot of these types of deeper, I guess, philosophical, I don't know if that's the right term, but just deeper conversation. And she's definitely admitted that she made a lot of mistakes while she was raising me, which I still turned out okay. But just that, like, she had to navigate a lot of unfamiliar situations, especially as an immigrant. Raising kids in America is so much different than in China, just because cultural differences, but also economic differences between her and my dad versus my grandparents' financial situations. It was just almost two different worlds, I guess, would be the best way to put it, especially because my family's financial situation was always evolving, especially when I was young, and as my parents were still completing their graduate educations or their doctorates and like starting their careers and stuff while they were having me. Anyways, I'm getting a little bit sidetracked right now, and also I don't know how long I've been recording because this parkour timer isn't running. But these next few days I'm looking forward to these next few days as well, I'm not gonna lie, because I have friends from back home that are coming over. One of my friends is actually arriving today, later this afternoon. And we're gonna go to a concert tomorrow, the iykyk concert. I have another friend coming in a few days. That's gonna be really fun. My apartment's gonna probably be pretty crowded because it's a 1-bedroom apartment, and I technically have an air mattress I'm borrowing, and I have a queen bed, so I could technically sleep 3 people, but it's gonna be a crowded, crowded 3 beds. So we'll see how that goes. But I'm really excited. I feel like I've made several videos now talking about how like I'm not going outside enough, or how life is monotonous, but these last few days have been very, very lively. It's been a nice change of pace, honestly, even though I haven't been the most productive, but that is a problem for another day. I don't know, maybe I just need a mental reset, especially because I definitely have been feeling a little bit burnt out these last, honestly, for a big part of the summer. And we'll see if we can lock in after I get a few days of real rest with some of my best friends. So yeah, don't really have much else to say right now though, so I'll see you guys next time.